Welcome back everybody, I am Carter Sandvin, and this is the channel for Sandbox Illustration. Sorry for sounding so unenthused, I'm currently sick right now, but hey, any time that I have available, I might as well use on YouTube. Today, we are continuing the environmental art series. Recently, we finished the second one, which was of a small townscape. The one before that was of a bedroom, and both of those we were using to exercise 1-point perspective and then 2-point perspective. The ones after this, though, don't really exercise anything like that. The ones after this are more just practicing some of the other more, let's call them fluid fundamentals. Ones that don't really take a science to them or anything like that. They don't really have like a set way to do them. They more just come down to how you might want to apply them yourself. And we are going to see that in this next sketch, which is going to be of a giant abandoned statue in the middle of the forest. Now, what I wanted to do with this was you would find a crater in the ground, and then the statue was sitting in it with vegetation growing over it and different mosses, and then in front of you there would be perhaps tall grass or maybe trees that were kind of blocking it, so you would get like a 3D sense of the environment that this statue is sitting in. And like the other two, I have a bit of a small description on how I want to do this. So of course I wanted to have a set color, a main basis for a color. So the last one was more red, where it had warmer colors throughout it. The one before that was kind of a purple bluish color. This one I really want to be brown. I want it to look kind of dead, abandoned. I really thought that brown would be the best color to bring that through. Maybe some dead vegetation. Of course, large statue in a crater surrounded by autumn trees. And it's a large statue of Gunther. If you guys remember, in my art journey video, I went over that sketchbook where I made drawings of Gunther. I filled out the entire thing with sketches of my cat. And one of them, I wanted to create a sketch of him that is based off of those small Norse god carvings that you can find. People will take chunks of wood and make carvings out of them to represent the gods. And I made one of Gunther. The problem in that one, though, was it looked a little bit phallic. He kind of looks like a penis. But we are not going to do that this time, I swear. And also, it's going to be very bright in the day, so we're going to play with some lighting tricks, and we're going to try and make it look like strong beams of like noon light are coming through and hitting the statue. Whereas where you're going to be viewing it might be a bit skewed because of all the trees around you, but this is going to have a huge spotlight set right on it. Like I said, this isn't really going to be playing with any tricks or fundamentals other than really composition. I don't know if you would consider depth one of the fundamentals, but I think about it a lot in my pieces. That's really one of the only things that we're going to be testing here, though. So I think that we are ready to do this. Let's get to drawing. Alrighty guys, we have finished up that sketch, my third environmental challenge, originally based off of this sketch from my Gunther sketchbook, and then obviously the planning, and it has come out looking like this, and it's a lot less phallic than it originally was, which I am very happy with. So, two major things that I want to address with this drawing. First one, I think that this is going to be my last environmental challenge. As I was making this sketch, the further that I went on with the process, what I saw in terms of my process of making the entire thing, I realized that the last sketch that you would get of the guy looking at the mountain, I don't think that I would get anything different out of that. Maybe getting more of a skyscape, but I think I've gotten that down pretty damn well. I don't think that I need to dedicate a whole sketch just to that. I think it would kind of be a waste. And also, a lot of the elements that are in this sketch are what I wanted out of that mountain sketch originally. Playing with a lot more elements from nature. And another thing too, as it was going on, I did kind of notice this wasn't really an environment sketch. An environment is what's supposed to be behind a main figure, what is supposed to encompass a main figure, and I put in a main figure, which was kind of a no-no for the challenge. Even with that though, I am extremely happy with how this turned out, mainly because this is my second thing that I wanted to say. This is my first debut with my own custom Photoshop brushes. If you guys saw during the speed art, I was going through what are called the Sandbox custom brushes. I made about 7 line pens, then I made a paintbrush, I have a bunch of construction brushes, and then I have my shader brush. I made all of these a little while ago, and when I first made them, they were a bit rough, just because I wasn't used to using them. I had adapted much more to Jazz's Photoshop brushes, but now I have my own custom Photoshop brushes, and they are everything that I wanted in a brush. Jazz's brushes got me so close to what I wanted, but this just is the icing on the cake, because I love the thin lines in it, because I think it gives you a very solid and concrete object in your sketch. But the problem with his that I personally had was, since they were just acting more as fine liners rather than actual ink pens, or at least in terms of how you're supposed to use them, they came out quite blocky and pixely. The edges were quite harsh on them sometimes. So if I were taking a more difficult angle with my pen, you would notice some very sharp edges on there, some very sharp pixels. This time though, with the brushes that I made, the pens are a lot more circular, so I can get very fine lines and very fine detail without getting a super hard edge. And this sketch was the first time that I truly tested them out, and I think that they look incredible. I personally do. I'm definitely going to be using Jazz's brushes in the future, because a lot of his, if you guys have noticed, I really experiment with the different kinds of pencils and brushes that he has in that set for different textures, and I still even use them in here. So like whenever I'm going to be doing textures on something like wood or stone, or making clouds even, and a lot of more, like I said, nature elements and different effects, his brushes come in extremely handy for that. So I am going to kind of be using both in tandem. Now, as I said before, I don't really use his brushes as they're intended. Like for one, I use the construction pencil to do the textures on the trees here, the more gritty texture. But I'm still going to be using those in the future, how I see them fit. But overall, my sketches are mainly going to be done with my own custom set, and I am so happy that I figured out how to do that. It feels fun. It feels fun that I get to use my own brushes in my sketches, because like I could show you this and be like, and I even made the pens to go along with it. I am very happy with the piece. I'm very happy with, like I said, the actual construction of it. I'm very happy with the statue this time, because I made the joke at the beginning that it's not as phallic as the original one was. But not only that, it's got a different style to it that you didn't get from the first one. This one almost looks like it's made from metal rather than stone. I think could have played a bit more with stone-like textures. That might be a big part of it. It does overall have quite a smooth sheen to it, rather than anything that's very gritty and rough and broken up. So I think I could have played with that just a bit more, but the statue looks really good. I love the environment around it, even if the trees are a bit basic. I love how the grass looks for being tall grass. I was afraid that at first it was going to look a bit simple, you know, nothing too special, but with how it looks, and especially having the grass up in the forefront with the two larger trees, I think it looks amazing. I truly do feel like you're getting depth out of this piece. One way that I really could have gone forward with depth is maybe having the line work for the trees as a separate layer, so then I could actually blur those. That would have been cool. I did think about that a little bit through, but for now, I think it gets across everything that I want. And with the tricks that I did here, there's nothing really that I'm looking to accomplish in another environmental sketch. So yeah, I think that this will be the last one. So we'll have these three though. And like I said, it's not really much of an environment sketch, because in terms of an environment, I didn't try that hard with the sketch. I'm more than okay to call this the last one, because I am more than impressed with the final product, and I hope that you guys are too. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. This was Carter Sandvin with Sandbox Illustration. Make sure to check in the description for links to more of my content, and like the video, comment on it, and subscribe for weekly art-related videos. Anyways, have fun, dudes.